Welcome back to Real Phonies, where we take a love for movies and television and combine it with very little knowledge about movies and television. I'm your host, Christian. Join me are my co-host, Joseph.
Yellow.
And Jehu.
I backed way off for that.
It's been a while because we've been quarantined.
Yeah, because the world is ending. Ian died.
Yeah. This has affected more people, or affected people in harsher ways than it's affected us. And unfortunately, Ian's been one of those people. So
because he's dead. Just to be
I
clear.
love it.
I was under the impression that Ian had taken a vow of silence, and he's still with us, but he just won't be saying it.
He's taken an involuntary vow of silence by dying. I think I've really tripled down on this joke that's probably insensitive during these times. If you or anyone knew it was affected by the coronavirus, I'm very sorry. This is poor taste.
Yep. But because of this, we've had a lot more free time, and I would say we all watched Castlevania, but Jehu watched some of Castlevania?
I watched the first season and the first half of the second season.
I mean, you're good on the way. You've passed through the initial gauntlet.
All that to say, we're talking about Castlevania today.
That's correct.
Which is a Netflix adaptation of a Konami video game or series.
Almost an insane idea. I don't really know. I mean, like most video games from that era, where it's this poor graphics, side-scrolly, whatever it is. I didn't play this game specifically, but I played a lot of them, not knowing that there's a very elaborate lore to almost all of them. Mortal Kombat, Sonic. I mean, just like anything that you can think of that has like no actual story to the gameplay tends to have like a really ridiculous lore associated with it.
Yeah, Jehu, did you play these games?
I play, it's funny because I looked back at them yesterday to see how many of there, and there's been like a billion of them, and it is a really complex backstory. I played one of the ones on regular ENS. I think Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest. Played the Super Nintendo one. But the one that I really liked was the Game Boy Advance one. It was kind of a ripoff of Metroid, how it was laid out. I can't remember. I think it was called like Circle of the Moon or something, and I fucking loved that game. I played it to death. I think Symphony of the Night was a similar sort of Metroid ripoff one. A lot of people like that one too.
Yeah, this show is based off of, Joseph, correct me, I may be wrong about this. I would say Castlevania 3 and Symphony of the Night. Is that right?
That's from what I could read also, yes.
Well, I know that this would be spoilery, so I won't say. But one of these characters is definitely from Symphony of the Night.
Yeah. I guess the story of the games is a generational saga of the Belmont family fighting Dracula. And so the show picks up with Trevor Belmont, who
Isn't it kind of weird? I don't know. Again, I don't know anything about these games, but why isn't it the Van Helsing? Or the Helsing family?
Yeah.
I guess so they could have a character they could copyright.
Well, yeah, but I guess that's fair. Yeah. Because you're using Dracula.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a fair point.
Dracula's got marquee value, though. The Helsings don't really have as much.
I guess so.
Yeah, I think Trevor Belmont he's from the Super Nintendo one, I believe. Because I think the first two were about his son Simon, and then the third one is like a prequel.
I'm impressed that you know this much about them. Again, it's one of those things where when I play the video games, I just click the start or X or whatever button it is until all the words go away and I can get back to hitting things.
Well, it's funny because used to when video games really didn't have that much of a story, I was super interested in the story. Uh-huh. Now that video games are all story, I'm like, shut up with the fucking story. Yeah, I can't be pleased.
Apparently not. So yeah, I feel like in theory this show is a terrible idea, but one, Netflix has poured a tremendous amount of money into the animation. Like, it looks great. I do want to. They classify it under its anime genre, but is it really anime?
I mean, I think it's anime as a style, if not as necessarily really anime.
I guess.
I think it's made in the States, right?
Yeah, it's made in the States. I don't know. Like, it just doesn't seem to like it's just an animated show that's adult. I don't know. Maybe.
Well, it doesn't have a pop punk intro in a different language.
Yeah, that's the requirement. Good.
I just gotta say, it is kind of funny that our first episode since Ian died is a fucking anime episode.
I mean, it seems appropriate, right?
He's
really holding us back.
you two
Yeah, exactly. He was keeping anime out of the podcast for as long as he could, and it killed him.
That's what he died of.
Correct. Of too much anime.
He passed an anime stone.
Yeah. And the other big boon to this show, and I mean, definitely they plaster it everywhere, is it's written and created by one of your favorite writers, Warren Ellis.
Warren Ellis, yeah, and Warren Ellis is a comic writer who really came to prominence in the '90s. His big well-known things are The Authority and Planetary, both things he did for DC Wildstorm. But he just has a habit. He's really good at writing, sort of over-the-top sci-fi and supernatural stuff with characters who don't talk very nicely to each other.
I'd say that sounds about right.
Right.
For this show.
Yeah, I mean, the first few episodes, you don't really feel him in it, but once you get to once Trevor Belmont gets some people to interact with, it's like, oh, this is exactly Warren Ellis.
So do we want to break into the actual show, or is there anything else we wanted to talk about up front?
No, let's get into the show.
All right, let's get into season 1. So I think this is one of the early departures from the game, is to immediately kind of make Dracula a sympathetic character. He's like the first person we interact with, and it's not in like a super murdery way.
Well, it is super murdery, just not he's the super murdery.
Okay, touche.
And it sort of it almost makes him too sympathetic, because it takes me a few episodes to really turn on him.
I don't know that I ever turned on him. I'll be honest with you. So yeah, the I think, if I'm remembering correctly, the series starts with a young like human woman coming into Dracula's castle, entreating him to teach her all of his knowledge that he's accumulated over centuries. He's a feared, revered, immortal presence in this world, and he is kind of taken with her spunk and optimism, and teaches her, and they fall in love, and it's all like good stuff. End of story, right?
Yeah, 5 minutes and we're over.
Yeah, it's over. No, so then we move on to the real baddie of I would say at least the first season, which is the Catholic. It's weird to me because the series is set in like Earth,
right?
It just doesn't feel like it so often.
Right.
So this is very much like medieval, like Dark Ages, burn the witch kind of era of the Catholic Church in, I guess, Eastern Europe. Here, Dracula's wife is captured by the church, inquisited, and murdered, and it sets off a bad time for everybody.
Right. Well, the bishop guy is really easy to dislike. I think I haven't checked who played who, but I think. Yeah, I saw Matt Frewer's name in the credits, and I think that was him. Matt Frewer of Max Headroom fame, and he is really, really dislikable in this role. He does a good job.
I mean, that's fair. It's a very hateable role.
Yeah.
I just would say the whole first season is like a prologue, really, for season 2.
Agreed.
The whole point is just to
getting
meet
the team
characters
together. Yeah.
You don't even realize it, but the whole first season. I mean, I don't know how deep we want to get now before we go into spoilers, but the first 4 episodes.
This whole thing is spoilers, by the way. If you haven't
#Castlevania spoilers.
Here's my pitch. Like, I'm still not sure if this is a good show. I enjoyed watching it. I think there's a lot of potential there, and I liked a lot of things about it. But I also think a lot of it is trash. But it's like just that perfect combination that makes it just like, I don't know, TV crack.
Well, I think it's fun trash.
I agree. No, it's super fun trash. So I say, you're on quarantine just like the rest of us. If you're running out of reruns of Friends or whatever you're doing, and you want to watch some really horrific animated violence and ridiculous characters, I recommend it. It's a good time.
Oh, well, it's like horny D&D. It's
it's like horny and like blood horny.
Yeah. It's weird fantasy Dungeons and Dragons, and I enjoyed it. I'm gonna say it's better than Transformers. I think it's hard to tell if it's good or not, but it is very entertaining, and I wanted to talk about it.
I'm definitely going better than Transformers because it is exactly what you say. It's entertaining, and I like immediately after it was over, I was like, I need to share this with someone.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think definitely better than Transformers. And I think, honestly, it's the way a lot of video game animation stuff should be. Just get a creator who has something that he wants to do. And maybe it doesn't have to be exactly the thing, but it carries over a lot enough that it brings in the people who likes it. But it's also just fun in its own self.
What it does do, Jay, when you're talking about like video game things, is like all the characters in the show are characters from the video game, but it is such a rich world and it invests in those side characters that it feels probably new and inventive and different. And even if it's telling the same story by, for example, like Hector and Isaac, our characters introduced in season 2, they're very, very interesting and they're in the game. But putting a focus on them really, I don't know, makes the world feel really well fleshed out and interesting. And I want to see more of it. It doesn't just feel like a rehash of what I've already seen or played.
I would argue that the side characters are much more interesting than the main characters for the most part. Maybe
certainly
Sans
the main
Dracula.
3.
Yeah. So that's a good point. We should introduce our main players here. So again, the first season, very much just here to set up Dracula's really the big bad in season 1 is the Catholic Church, which, they really, really, really hammer you over the head with.
Yeah, they're not subtle about that at all.
There's very little subtlety as a whole in the show, but particularly in the first season with, religious dogmatism is bad. But we meet Trevor Belmont of the Belmont family, the last surviving member of a monster hunter lineage, who is, for some reason, kind of hated by everybody. Is the first episode of this, or any episode of this, any different from The Witcher?
I just watched The Witcher. It is very similar.
Literally, the barroom scene is the same.
Yeah, look, I'll get into it more when we're talking about what we've been watching, but it lacks a catchy bard tune like The Witcher has.
He's probably the biggest voice cast name in this. Trevor Belmont is Richard Armitage, famous of The Hobbit, and also playing Wolverine on a podcast.
Right. And if he wasn't already playing Wolverine after hearing this, I would be like, that guy should play Wolverine.
Yeah.
It's very similar voice. It's the same voice, but with a British accent.
Yeah. It's very generic, reluctant anti-hero-y kind of. It's reluctant hero, but with an edge.
Right.
He's fine. And then we meet Sypha, what is Sypha?
A speaker?
Well, yes. She's a speaker, she's a magician, but what is her character?
I mean, from the Warren Ellis structure, you've got you've him who's the hero who says mean things to everybody, and she's the guy who says mean things. I mean, the lady who says mean things back to him. It's basically how that dude writes. So, she doesn't really have to be a character. She just has to be a repository of mean things to say.
I like Sypha. She's my favorite of the main 3.
It's a low bar, but I would agree with you. I like her the best in the most recent season 3.
She actually has an arc in season 3, which
Correct.
is weird because you would think in season 1 she kind of has an arc, which is like being exposed to the world, but that really doesn't come to fruition until the 3rd season.
Yeah, she's mostly just there to be required love interest for Trevor Belmont and foil him in all of his curmudgeonly ways and make him do stuff. She's like she's the shrewy woman who makes him do the right thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, she should be carrying a rolling pin.
Yeah, exactly.
And that brings us to
bring us to your favorite character.
Oh, God. Alucard.
Which is Dracula spelled backwards.
Oh, my God, I've never noticed that.
In case we were talking about, look, this is from the video game, so I'm not going to blame this on Warren Ellis, but this is not a subtle show is what I'm saying.
Right.
Alucard is Dracula's son by Dracula and his human wife, who teams up with Trevor Belmont and Sypha to go and kill Dracula because he feels like he needs to in order to save humanity who he feels like doesn't deserve to be exterminated.
Yeah, he does it for his mother because his mother wouldn't want it.
Yeah.
Which doesn't feel like enough of a motivation to me.
He's really, he's the least of anything of any of the characters. I say that. I actually liked his arc from the 3rd season. But we'll get to that. But he's I don't know, gay fabulous Dracula with a long sword.
Yeah. He's
definitely.
I'm not saying that regular Dracula is not also gay, because I don't feel like straight people wear capes.
I mean, that's taking a big that's taking a big statement on almost everything we talk about there.
That's correct.
We talk about a lot of cape stuff. I feel like
Haggard does kind of feel like a power gay fantasy. Like he really it really teeters on this like soft spoken but powerful, and I just feel like there's way more to him that the show just doesn't deliver on. Like he could be the most interesting character. He's the son of Dracula.
That's the thing. I feel like this show is really like biding its time, which drives me crazy, because I'm like, there's a lot of things that they're setting up. There's like, I can see how you'd get to that in like 2 seasons or 3 seasons and really flesh that out. Like, do you really deserve 3 more seasons? Yeah,
well, especially what happens at the end of season 2. I was really like, what are you going to do?
Yeah, for sure. So
season 2.
So season 1 all set up. We just met all our people. Season 2 is where I think it starts getting interesting. Is where I think the show kind of gets its own flavor, because in the first season, Christian's talking about how that's kind of very D&D-esque, and to me, the main characters all feel like shitty, poorly fleshed out D&D characters, and doing the classic like murder hobo, going around to different towns, murdering shit, and then going to another town and murdering other shit. I think they're the least interesting people. In season 2, we're taking it a lot more from Dracula's perspective, and he's calling in all of his armies to exterminate humanity. Since then we get into this whole like court of Dracula, army of Dracula, like politics. And I think that shit's really interesting, because it's very Game of Thronesy in like the good parts of Game of Thrones.
It's super Game of Thronesy.
Plus Peter Stormare.
Oh my God! Look, we should. I guess we should get into the characters we introduced in this season. So first 2 are kind of the biggest players, I think, are Isaac and Hector, which are 2 of Dracula's human lieutenants who hate humanity for different reasons. I can't really remember why Hector hates humanity.
He had mean parents.
Oh, he had me. Okay, that's good.
He couldn't have his zombie dog.
Yeah, they didn't like that he reanimated zombie cats and shit like that.
Yeah, so he's like, he I don't know what he is. He appreciates all things, and I guess was rejected for it, and so he joins Dracula and is going to kill a bunch of humans.
Hector doesn't want to kill humans. That's his whole thing. He wants a cull. They say the word cull like 15 million times.
But kill is still like cull is still killing, just not all of them.
He doesn't want to exterminate.
Yeah,
he wants to turn them into cattle.
Isaac is much more black and white. Just firmly believes humanity is corrupt at its core and should be wiped from the planet for everyone else's good.
Also, my favorite voice casting of the whole show is Isaac. That is played by Mr. Echo's brother from Lost.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Right on.
That's awesome.
Cool.
I did not know that. Yeah, he's really good. And both these, the interesting, I guess, the kind of their role in this army is both of them have a magic called they're Forge Masters, which is a thing that apparently only living creatures can be, where they can raise souls from hell into like demon things to, I don't know, kill other people.
Right.
That's about as much description as the show gives as well.
That's super fair. And then we get introduced to my favorite character, I would argue possibly the best character of all time, Godbrand.
I was hoping you guys like Godbrand, because Godbrand's definitely my favorite character. He's the only person in this show having any fun.
Played by Peter Stormare, who is generally, the guy having fun when no one else is having fun.
Right, that's true.
But I watched this, and he's in it for a fair bit of season 2. And I was like, what the fuck is this accent? It's nothing. There's no way that there was a voice director who came in and be like, make it more ambiguous and made up and kind of speech impediment-y.
Isn't that kind of all of Peter Stormare's career is like just Eastern European?
I mean, he's always generic Eastern European, but this one's even more insane than usual. And At first I was like, what is he doing? But then as he committed to it, I was like, I love this. This is the best thing that's happening on this show.
Yeah, it's like German, Scottish, something. Like
kind of Russian, kind of Polish, kind of I don't know what, man. It's an insane choice.
And all of that to say he's a vampire Viking, and you wouldn't. I mean, it's just great.
There's no other character decisions there. He's just that.
Yeah.
And then
Carmilla, I think, is the only other big one.
Yeah, Camilla is the other big one, which is it's another female vampire in Dracula's. I don't know, one of his loyal. What do you call those things?
Minions?
Lieutenants? I mean, yes, sure. But she's probably the most conniving and ambitious of the group.
I mean, definitely, yes. I would. I mean, that's her whole thing. As soon as she walks on, it's like, oh, she's here to fuck shit up.
Kind of like season 1 is for the main 4 people. That's how season 2 is for Camilla. It's just really an introduction into her and some of her character traits, and a lot of her story is really picking up in season 3.
That's true, yeah. I don't know how much we want to get into actually breaking down the plot of these.
I mean, we don't need to go episode by episode. Just, I would say, general plot description is it's our 3 heroes in an attempt to
are on a gopher mission is really what this whole season is. They're just going to kill. Well, they have to go get weapons first, and then they have to go kill Dracula.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
that's like a half the season as they go to get the goddamn weapons from the Belmont Castle or whatever.
But also, while that's going on, Dracula has to deal with infighting inside of his own court, so he's kind of being pulled in. And
to be clear, at this point, and I say that all the characters in season 1 are terrible. Dracula is fascinating. Like I love him as like this. This supreme creature who's been alive longer than everybody else, who knows more magic, more science, more everything than everybody else, who's the strongest vampire, who is just doesn't have anything left, He had one small joy and it's gone, and now it's just what is eternity even worth anymore?
Right.
What is all this knowledge and all this anything worth?
Dracula voiced by former Middle-earth dwarf Graham McTavish.
Yes, which I assume that he says Graham McTavish, but I have no idea if that's true.
Dwalin in the Hobbit films.
And he, the voice is great. I mean, the character is really interesting, and for sure, Dracula's whole plan, quote unquote, to kill humanity is an elaborate suicide attempt.
Yeah, and it's great. I mean, he's the most compelling part of the show. He's interesting, and kind of like Jay, who you hit on earlier, while I get that what he's doing is terrible and evil, I get it. I'm not against him per se.
And that's the thing. He's not. It's not even a revenge thing. He doesn't even seem to be It's not like
it's a depression thing.
Yeah, it's absolutely that. It's just he seems exhausted by the fact that he has to kill humanity.
Yeah. I mean, probably my favorite parts of the whole show is just whenever he's sitting in front of the fire looking exhausted.
Yeah, it's great.
Which great. He seems to go back to a lot. Every time somebody's looking for him, they just go find him, and he's sort of slunched over, sitting in front of the fire, just waiting for humanity to be killed off.
So
yeah, I always I took that bit to be, him, one, just him being done, but two, the fire bit, I'm assuming is his almost kind of fascination with hell. If he's thinking that's where his wife is, he's pondering on hell, and if he's this eternal being, will he ever actually see her again, or is death the real trick to finding his lost love once more?
Right.
That's a pretty good take. I like that.
Well, they go to the Belmont abode and they get weapons and knowledge.
I also do like the fact that only works for animation, but the whip is a dumb weapon. But I like that they commit to it.
Yeah. Well, I think the Morning Star is the weapon of choice in the game. I may be wrong about that. But
No, if I remember correctly, it is totally. Once you get that, you can really fuck some shit up.
I mean, both the whip and the Morning Star, I think, are stupid, and I feel like it compels the animators to come up with creative ways to use them so they don't seem stupid.
Yeah, the physics doesn't make sense of it at all, but I'm on board. It looks.
I mean,
cool.
that's the thing. I think it's kind of like writing for Superman. I feel like it's a constraint that it could have crippled them, but I feel like made it. They've ventured into new grounds of Morningstar animation.
All this fast forward leads to a big battle.
Right.
One thing we didn't talk about was Dracula's castle moves all over the place. So that's another part, is trying to find where Dracula is
and keep the castle from moving. But this whole time, Camilla is stirring up shit, trying to recruit people onto her side, thinking that Dracula has lost his mind and needs to be taken out. Which, I mean, she's right, we'll be honest. But
they really make Carmilla out to be super evil, and I'm not saying she's not, but she's 100% the smartest person on that
Oh,
side.
I mean, look, she's an asshole, but she's pretty practical, you know?
Right.
Yeah, I get it, exactly where she's coming from.
But that's why I think the court of Dracula is the most interesting, because each of those characters makes more sense to me than the other characters. Like, they have more clear motivations and depth to them that, like, I identify with than our main characters.
The three heroes, Trevor's doing it because it's family legacy. That's it. Like, he doesn't even like humanity. Like, why would he fight someone? Right. Sypha's doing it because she believes the world's a better place than it actually is, which is a lesson she learns. And Alucard is doing it out of some sense of honor, nobility. You don't really know, and none of them are fleshed out deeper than that.
He just wants the rest of the leather pants that he left in Dracula's castle.
So much leather pants. All the leather pants.
So
shirt,
all that
like only tied up to like right around his nipples.
For sure. So from here on out, it's going to spoil it for Jehu. So sorry, Jehu. You shouldn't have gotten on this phone call. But Camilla pretty early on recruits Hector successfully because Hector is a goddamn moron. And also convinces Godbrand onto her side. And Godbrand makes the mistake of trying to recruit Isaac, who is like 2,000% loyal to Dracula, and immediately murders him.
Brutally. Show, we haven't talked about it. This show is gory.
It's so gory. It's ridiculous.
I mean, it's like juvenile gory.
Well,
it's
and that's one of the things I want to talk about the show in general is so much of it, both from like animation to writing to whatever, seems specifically to be appealing to like 14-year-old boys. Like if I was 14 years old, this would be the shit. I would be on, like, I would love all the gore and whatever. I would be super on board with all of the just like rampant and unchecked cynicism. I don't know. Like it seems like it would be my shit at 14.
Well, it's it's like that thing about I said about 80s movies before, which is that 80s was an entire decade of movies made for people too young to watch them. That's totally what this shit is. It's totally targeted at people whose parents aren't allowing them to watch it. It's going to be a lot in secret.
Yeah,
it does feel like 300 in a lot of that.
Yeah. I dig that. So the whole plot of this season comes to a head. Camilla betrays Dracula with Hector, kind of, I don't know. Hector agrees voluntarily, but then she like blackmails him for betraying Dracula. It's a whole thing. There's infighting within the vampire ranks, and they're killing each other, and then our main three come in and directly confront Dracula, which, I mean, they do mostly successfully, but realistically, he gave himself up at the end. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's an emotional bit.
It is an emotional bit. It's a big elaborate battle with Dracula and Alucard, and the final scene ends up with Dracula and Alucard in Alucard's childhood room, and then Dracula kind of has this realization that like, what the fuck am I doing? Why am I trying to kill my one son, my one thing that's left of my wife? And just like there was a lot there. I agree. It was a pretty potent moment.
Yeah, I really enjoyed season 2. Not that season 1 just.
Season 1's trash. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't think it looks great, and the voice acting. I mean, the voice cast is good, but it's not like there's no substance there.
Yeah, exactly. Season 2 is really where you get into the meat and potatoes,
right?
And it delivers, I think, for the most part, which is what. I'm not going to say season 3 disappointed me, but I was very confused in where it was going. And I would say this, about 3 or 4 episodes in, I thought I knew exactly how it was going to end. Until about 2 minutes prior to the season 3 ending, I felt that I was 100% right. So it does kind of subvert expectations a little bit, but I found season 2 to be the best of the 3.
I agree. I think season 2 is the best so far. I mean, the thing about season 3... to me, is that it spends a lot of time setting up season 4.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
It's fine. Like, I mean, I did like some of the character development that is going to be leading up to season 4, but at the same time, you're also cutting out room for like the actual story of season 3.
Yeah. So specifically, I would say with Hector, Isaac, and Carmilla.
Yeah.
None of what happens with those three characters, and we spend a lot of time with those three characters, has any bearing on what happens in season 3.
Yeah, I should make it clear that at the end of season 2, Dracula is killed, like officially, and so I mean, if I like you were like, where's the show going to go? Because Dracula is the most interesting character in this show. The answer is they all kind of split off into the wind and go on their own adventures of meeting and learning and stuff.
Yeah, so we find Alucard guarding Dracula's castle.
Yep.
Sypha and Trevor are heroes for hire, essentially.
They're murder hobos.
Yep, doing the murder hobo thing, town to town, killing demons. Isaac is, since Isaac was the only person that really remained true to Dracula, Dracula saves his life, which ticks Isaac off to no end. So he's now kind of on a revenge mission.
Kind of. He's also like, it's also like a self-searching mission now that Dracula's gone. Like, what is my purpose when I'm not serving?
And Hector has been taken captive by Carmilla.
Fuck Hector. I hate Hector so much. We'll get into it, but the reason I hate Hector so much, I mean, he's the Sansa Stark so far of this series.
Oh, that is real good.
It's just that, like, you know, he's naive and impressionable and, you know, easily manipulated, and that, like, really does not work out for him in the second season. Like, it goes very poorly. And the beginning of this season is him at like his like rock bottom. He's like dragged in chains through the snow, naked. Is he naked? I can't remember.
He ends up naked.
Yeah, I don't know. But you know, like less than human, like less than anything. And you'd think at this point he's had a lot of time to contemplate his life, but motherfucker just makes the same goddamn mistakes over and over again.
I would say this in Hector's defense, at least you're right. Like, he just keeps making the same mistakes repeatedly, but that's his character attribute, is that he's a child.
Yeah.
He's a kid who he puts trust in people very easily, and because it's weird. It's kind of like the Michael Jackson syndrome, in that, like, all he wanted was a pet. All he wanted was to do this thing, and he never got to have it. So he kept trying to relive it over and over and over again. And I get it. I understand it. I like Hector, but, you know, if he died, it would not dissuade me from stop watching the show. Like, it's just, he's just not as interesting as everyone else.
No, and I mean, look, I again, if they make the show for like 6 seasons, I can see a turnaround for that character. But it's
I believe Hector ends up being a protagonist in the games.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, where do we want to start on this one?
I mean, I say let's take it by character, like not character by character, but the three main plot lines.
Isaac is the easiest one because Isaac is just on the self-searching journey, and you know, kind of by the end of it is kind of reinvigorated in like, yeah, you know what? I think that humanity should be killed, and I think I should be the one that kills them.
Yeah, basically, he's going to fulfill Dracula's vision.
Right. Yeah.
Why was there a random Jamaican sailor?
I don't know. I liked him though. I liked that arc.
He was fun.
Yeah.
It just felt very random. Isaac's bit is the most interesting part, even if it doesn't really go anywhere other than besides him finding his purpose.
Well, it's character development, and I think that's one of the things that, like, you know, is good for this kind of show is those slow moments where you're like just chatting with a character, and he's just he's so interesting because he is so black and white, and even though, like, he does experience kindnesses a lot in his life, just the negative experiences that he has with humanity just so greatly outweigh any positive things that happen like it immediately turns him.
When you say you feel like this season was a build-up for a lot of season 4, I think that's very true with Isaac.
Yeah, for sure. No, Isaac wants to go fucking torture the shit out of Hector.
Yes. Well, and that, I think that we can easily move into Hector and Carmilla, which is simply, Carmilla is basically established that she is going to kind of do what Dracula did, except instead of murder everyone, she wants to take over people and again, have cattle. She wants a herd of people that she can just feed on whenever she wants.
And she's a part of a, I don't know what you would call this, an oligarchy of vampiresses.
Yep. The Sisterhood.
The Sisterhood. I cannot remember all their names. I only remember Lenore.
Styga.
Yep. Stiga? I don't know.
Styga.
And then the other one.
And then there's one more, yeah. Who's the least
like
important?
the admin? Like, what does she even do?
Yeah, she hired some mercenaries.
I'm unclear about that.
But basically, that whole plot line is them just trying to get Hector on board to be their forge master.
Because his creations only report to him, only are loyal to him.
Yeah, exactly. And vampires can't do it. They can't do that magic. And
right.
So the whole plot there is just a very slow Stockholm syndrome type thing.
Well, so they kind of set it up as each of these four, vampire women have like their own role in this I don't know, what do you call it?
Ruling party.
Yeah, ruling party. That's fine. Camilla, who we've already met, is kind of like the dreamer. She pushes them forward. Stiga is kind of the muscle, the military might. Again, that other girl is just admin. I don't really know why she's there. She's like the Bobs in Office Space. And Lenore, who's like this young looking pretty thing, is supposed to be like the
diplomat,
the diplomat, the personal relations. And so she's the one who's kind of like trying to sweet talk Hector back into like being on their side. And the thing that bothers me is that Hector is immediately suspicious, and
he knows right away.
Yeah, well, he knows. I mean, of course they're here to manipulate him into doing that. Like, that's what else? Why else would they even keep him alive? Why else would he be there?
It's not even mistrust. He knows exactly what they want to do.
But he's just such a goddamn dumb sucker.
And then you go to Alucard, who is guarding Dracula's castle, and he meets these two.
Well, just guarding and getting bored and lonely as fuck.
Yeah, extremely. Fishing. Two Japanese warriors. We met their vampire lord in the first season, but I don't believe them having any, or second season. I don't think they ever spoke or anything like that.
Yeah.
But they died in the battle with Dracula at the end of season 2. So now these two people, they want to go on a vampire killing spree, and they want Alucard to train them how to do it. And they kind of play similar to Sypha in the first season, like naive, and there's also this like self-doubt that they never thought they could do it, and they grow really attached to Alucard.
I mean,
maybe. I would say that all of these plot lines, and we'll get to Trevor and Sypha's in a second, all kind of come to a culmination in the 9th episode of the 3rd season.
That's true, but I feel like the ones we're on have a particularly intertwined thing. That if we want to come back to episode 9, that's fine, or we can just hit this part and then do all of our main characters, or Trevor and Sypha's arc, whichever way.
So Isaacs is kind of separate. He takes over a town ruled by a magician, but the other two, Hector and Alucard, are lured into having sex with everybody, or at least Carmilla, or what's her name, the one Lenora.
Lenore, yeah.
Hector and Lenore, they decide to make some love, and Alucard has a twin threesome.
For sure, I'm sure there's a name for that on the internet. I just don't know what it is. And I will say, I mean, I know that you probably picked up on this, and I think it's intended for the viewer to pick up on the fact that, and Alucard should pick up on the fact that they very clearly want to murder him, or are planning on murdering him. Yes. But to me, that's why I like that part of his arc in this season, is because it's one of those things where to me, it's implied that he's just so lonely that he's like willing to overlook all of these red flags because he just desperately wants the company.
For sure. That he almost willingly ignores it.
Correct. Yeah.
He's just lonely.
So in both of these cases, they are sex traps to murder or enslave the participants. The twins try to bind and murder Alucard, and Hector is tricked into doing some kind of magical promise binding thing to be a servant of the vampire people.
Yeah, it's like a weird blood promise ring.
Yeah. And to me, this is, I talk of all of this show, so much of this show, like from the brooding anti-hero to the cynicism to all the other things, again, very aimed at 14-year-old me and 14-year-old boys across the world. But I also feel like this particular scene of the really sexed up sex stuff, but they're also sex traps, is also a really 14-year-old perspective. Because one, it's like really gratuitous, like sexy nudity times. So hooray for that. But also, it, to me anyway, like feeds into like this deep-seated fear when you're too young to have actually had any sexual experiences of like all sex is a trap,
Yeah. No, I definitely can feel that.
So I don't know. I feel like this show knows exactly who it's marketing to. And I don't know if that's who's watching it.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's who's watching it as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's more layers to that bit when you put it in context of what else is happening in that episode. But for Sypha and Trevor, they basically come across this town where this Catholic church was visited by a night creature or demon.
Yep.
And now all the priests are odd. And so they started investigating it. They meet a guy named Saint Germain, played by Bill Nighy. Because of course
Bill Nighy is in this show.
Yeah, had to be in this show. And that all leads up to you finding out that these priests and this night creature are trying to use a portal to hell to bring Dracula back. And I would say this was the most predictable part of the show to me.
For sure.
Very quickly, I was like, oh, this is just build up to getting us Dracula back. And honestly, while that felt like cliche because you just had this big climactic moment and you were going to kill him, I was actually really excited about it because Dracula is my favorite character.
Yeah, Dracula's the best part. And don't get me wrong, we'll talk about it, but Dracula will come back.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
The other character that we beat that's kind of a major voice role is Jason Isaacs plays the judge, who is like the governor of this small town, and he's seems very concerned about these creepy priests and their demon visitor.
He's the worst.
He's the worst character.
Yeah, you don't know he's the worst. He's the most evil person on the show.
We'll talk about that. We'll get into it. So yeah, this whole again, it is very predictable, but I did actually kind of enjoy this like slow uncovering of this plot by both Trevor and Sypha and Saint Germain all kind of independently, picking up clues and whatever.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Sala or whatever the chief weird priest is. He was real interesting.
He's good. Yeah, he's a good character. But it all comes to a head where they all, the town's army and all of our main people are going to go take the church, but it's too late. The church has already opened the portal to hell. There's a big battle. It's very, very, very gratuitous in the same episode that also has all the sex and the sex traps. There's
almost no dialogue in that episode.
Yeah.
It's almost all this hyper violence with this also hyper sexualized bit. And that's why I say it kind of plays into what you're talking about, because one, there's this natural danger in what's happening to Alucard and to Hector. But while that's happening and this like entire town is murdered and basically Sypha and Trevor are in this hopeless situation, really plays into this like danger, temptation, pleasure thing. Because one thing we're seeing in the beginning of this is that Sypha enjoys this. She enjoys this like lifestyle.
Yeah.
And she's getting her fill of it, and it really bleeds into this like almost like gratuitous nature, in that it's like too much of a good thing can be a bad thing. And while she is helping people, she's exposing herself to the evils of the world, just like Alucard he's exposed himself to partnership and relationships, and now it's turning on him. And the similar thing for Hector in that moment. But this episode is heavy. It is dark.
Yeah, I mean, it's very dark. Again, it's dark, but it's mostly just like, I don't know, violent and over the top. Like, it's not like, I don't feel like there's a tremendous amount of like emotional weight to it or anything. Particularly because if there was going to be that, it would be for Hector or Alucard. But you 100% see it coming.
Yeah. All those things are very predictable very early on.
Yeah.
So you know where all of those characters are ending up.
As a whole, the action animation for the fight sequences is excellent. My lord.
It's great.
The fights, especially with Sypha and all of her like elemental magical powers, very, very cool. And I guess that brings us. Oh yeah, so the other, so Saint Germain, I think is they do this weird thing. You haven't seen this, Hurt, which is bothering me because I feel like this is a Warren Ellis thing, but I just don't know any Warren Ellis.
Right.
Where he has he's been through this magical portal to other worlds, and we get like a glimpse of a flashback to it. where he can see like weird things from the past and the future in all other places. Like hell is one of these places, but some of it has like robots, and some of it is like a random Australian native. I don't know. Like there's all sorts
there's
of
like an Aborigine in there.
yeah. And it was one of those things where it was like a peek into all these worlds that we're not going to go to in this show. And I was like, why? Is that a thing that Warren Ellis does?
I mean, yeah, definitely. During the Authority, a big part of it was the bleed, which was they navigated the space in between alternate dimensions. So you saw a lot of stuff from alternate dimensions and stuff like that. That's definitely a thing that he is into, and it usually is never for good.
Sure.
Right. So yeah.
I like Saint Germain.
I like Saint Germain too.
He's very Bill Nighy though.
For sure. I mean, I think he says "fuck" at some point, so that was slightly different than usual Bill Nighy. But anyway, the whole point is his character is that he lost a looked like a partner or a loved one in one of these other worlds and wants to join them. And at the end of it, spoiler alert for episode 10, he does. And now we'll never get to see what happens to him. And I'm like, wait, hang on, this is bullshit.
Oh, I think he may come back. I don't know how or why or when, but
I want to know what this weird MC Escher library world is.
Yeah. The other big reveal in episode 10 is you find out the judge has been murdering children this whole time.
That's correct.
And the reason why I say I think he's the worst is most of the evil characters on this show embrace that about themselves. They know they're bad. Uh-huh. They know, but he's self-righteous in it. He still rules over these people, thinks he's doing it to maintain the peace, but then has like a trophy room. It's this false sense of heroics while being a mass murderer. It's terrible.
Yeah, it was one of those things where, to me, like I get what you're coming from, and I mean that's fair. There's a lot of the evilly things that are going on in this show are, I mean, either involuntary, as far as the demons are just like inherently evil as far as we know, or are kind of like dogmatic choices, like Isaac. If he's made the choice, he knows what he is. And so I see where you're coming from, but at the same time, like the reaction from Sypha and Trevor when they discover this is like, I mean, they're like aghast that such a thing could happen. And I'm like, motherfuckers, you guys see worse shit like this every day. And I mean, maybe it is just like it's a human making this choice, but I don't know. Like I was like, I can't imagine this was that much worse than yesterday.
I think the difficult part is that it's hard to separate because it isn't like a demon or hellish creature or whatever. But also, I think the whole point of that character is to show Sypha that the world is not some perfect place that really necessarily deserves saving.
Right? Yeah. I don't know. I wasn't fully sold on it, but I see where you're coming from. I think that is what they were going for.
Yeah, I like season 3. It's the best, better of season 1, but season 2 is the best. I'm excited to see where they're going to go, though.
Me too. I liked the vampiress oligarchy thing. I kind of want to see Hector get fucked more. Not like literally, but by by literally anybody that wants anything from him. And so the other thing, at the end of or in episode 10, Alucard saves himself from nearly being staked by using a magical sword to murder the two Japanese humans that he had been so fond of. But I don't know. I like that the turn of, he's had a relatively optimistic relationship with people since meeting up with Trevor and Sypha. And I just think that's kind of like, I feel like he should be somewhere in the middle. Like he started out in this pretty like agnostic, I don't really care if humanity lives or dies place. And then he was kind of like on board of humanity. And I just feel like based on, who he is, what he is, and kind of his immortality, I don't know. I feel like he should be a little bit more removed. So I like that he kind of like took the step back. You're like, you know what? Maybe fuck these people.
Yeah. Who do you think, just out of curiosity, what do you think season 4 is going to be about?
I mean, it's going to be the beginning of the plan to create that human farm that the vampiresses want really bad. I think Isaac's going to come in and fuck it up trying to get at Hector. and then that's going to unravel. I'm not really sure how the Belmont people are going to get involved.
Exactly. That's the thing I'm most curious about, because it seems to me like season 4 is definitely going to be set up for Hector versus Isaac.
Yeah, they also set up that they might want to go back and visit Alucard, which might be a less of a warm welcome than they were expecting if they go back now. So
yeah,
we'll see.
I could also see at the end of season 4, Hector's new mission, or not Hector, Isaac's new mission is to bring back Dracula.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I'll be mad if they don't bring back Dracula, or if this show gets canceled, because again, it's super watchable. It's very entertaining.
Yeah, it's trashy. It's trashy TV. But
it definitely seems risky to have a long plan with Netflix, because they'll just, decide, 3 seasons was enough. We're done.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's true.
Without ratings or anything coming into play.
But I hope this lasts longer than, say, The Witcher. But apparently The Witcher is the shit. And I'm sure you guys will tell me more about it in the What We're Watching section. But if you've made it this far in the episode, you haven't seen Castlevania, even though we've just told you what happens, I still think you should go back and watch it, because it's more fun to watch than I'm sure it was to listen to this.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, I only watched half of it, and I'm going to still finish it. So even though you guys did tell me every single thing that happened.
That's correct.
You're welcome.
I think you should just go back and watch the Godbrand episodes.
Well, it's funny. I actually did get up to Godbrand's end. So I was hoping you were going to tell me he was going to come back. But
he does not.
Oh, it's too bad.
It is too bad. Maybe later. Fuck Dracula. Just bring back Godbrand. Well, cool.
You gotta be pretty close to the end of season 2, right, Hurt?
Yeah, I guess so. I thought I was only halfway through, but I guess I was more than halfway.
I think that's episode 6. He actually dies earlier than you probably think. It's 5 or 6. Well, cool. That's Castlevania. I highly recommend it. Better than Transformers.
Yep, agreed.
It's not that, you know what I mean. We'll get to it. What have we been watching, guys? Hey, we had a lot of time on our hands.
Yeah, we all had a lot of time to be watching, and this actually might be a time where someone would be interested in what we have to say on this subject, because everybody's looking for new ways to waste time.
Agreed. I would love to say that I watched something original and I don't think other people have seen, but that's not true. I have watched Tiger King, like the rest of the internet.
Right.
God, that show is nuts.
I've only watched the first episode of that. I haven't decided if I'm going to finish it or not.
Man, the first episode doesn't hold a candle to what's coming.
Really?
It really doesn't even show the tip of the iceberg of what is you don't even know what's actually going on. Just what else happens in the lives of these people. It's a weird show in that there are no heroes. There is no good side whatsoever. You may think you know, but everyone is terrible. And but gosh, it is like the state of Florida wrapped up in 8 hours. It is just nuts.
Right.
I watched a really cool ZZ Top documentary on Netflix, if people are into ZZ Top.
Oh, shit. I saw that on there, and I want to watch it because I fucking love ZZ Top. So
yeah.
It's good?
It's real great. I saw them in concert like a decade ago, and I think I'd say I preferred watching the documentary than watching them live. Like, it's a really intimate look at them, and they play a couple songs throughout, but it's a cool show. I watched The Witcher because I finished Castlevania and I was in the mood for some more D&D type shows.
Is it better or worse than Castlevania?
Oh, it's worse than Castlevania. But I will keep watching it. I finished the show, but when the second season comes out, I'll watch it. It is the most D&D show possible. I mean, there are druids, there are elves, there are dwarves. There's a belt of returning. There is dragons. There is elves. I mean, it is the most, and they don't even try to change the names. They're manticores. I mean, it's just Dungeons and Dragons in a TV show. Having said that, Henry Cavill is terrible. I think the character of Geralt is probably hard to play in live action. He's not supposed to have an emotion, and so in that regard, Henry Cavill is probably the right guy to play him. But he's just not charismatic enough for you to care. And they do a really good job of focusing on the character of Yennefer, who's way more interesting, and how their paths cross. I hope that continues in future seasons because she's way more interesting than he is. But, I'm going to say it's better than Transformers. I know I'm really late to the party of this, so I'm not telling anybody new, but Toss a Coin to Your Witcher is a dope song.
It's very catchy.
It's super catchy. And that Bard character is a lot of fun. I don't think I had nothing else comes to mind that I've watched. Oh, I watched Beastars, which is another
How
Netflix.
much of it have you watched?
All of it.
Tell me, I want to know.
It is, if you look at it and you think, man, this looks like it should be for furries, you're right. It's like Zootopia and porn had a baby.
Well, it's like Zootopia, but all of the sexual tension and innuendos are just capitalized on. Is my understanding.
Yep. Even in Zootopia, where there's this concept of predator versus prey and all that, that is heightened to the nth degree in this show. And then they add on the fact that they're like high schoolers, and so they have what other high schoolers have on their minds. And look, I'm gonna go worse than Transformers. It's worth a watch, and I definitely wanted to talk about it. After
you're
I
on a watch
it.
list now.
But after, yeah, no, for sure, 100%. Now that I've had some space from it, whatever, it's fine. I know a lot of people who are big in the old Raylo community are real big fans of it. So
Interesting.
it's very Kylo Ren and Rey, except imagine Rey is very promiscuous.
And people they've imagined that.
a lot of people have.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess in their defense, Rey and Poe, Rey and Kylo, Rey and Finn, everyone tried hooking her up with every character in those movies. So there's a little bit of motivation behind it, but Beastars is weird.
Yeah, the only thing I'd heard about this is that it's ended up on a lot of the wrong people's recommendation lists. Like, it's been recommended to some kids, and it is definitely not for kids.
Absolutely not for children.
Yeah.
That's it.
Good stuff.
Right on. Well, I'll go next. I'm going to try not to be very spoilery on these in case they're things that people want to watch. Well, me and Sarah have been watching Star Trek Discovery. I'm a little about 2 years late to the game on this, but we started watching that. It's hard to talk about my opinion of it without spoilers, but I'm going to try my best. I'm going to say it's better than Transformers, and then I'm going to do that thing where I complain about it for 10 minutes. So it starts off very much being one of those things where it starts as one thing and very quickly turns into a different thing. It's like, and I've just blown your mind. And it does. I don't know if it does a good job of that, because you kind of see it coming. It also is very different from other Star Trek, that for the first half of the season, I don't think you know who to like. Like, Star Trek is usually everybody's likable, and even when two characters conflict, you still know they're both good people. But for a big bunch of this, I don't know. You don't really know who the good people are, and it took me a while to get used to that. But once I got used to it, I kind of liked it. I kind of thought it fit with being on a starship. Towards the end of the season, there's a 4-part story where they once again try to flip everything on their head with a bunch of twists and turns. And it's after that, I don't know, the status quo change they do is not as interesting as the status quo before. But the second season, I think, is better. The second season is more Star Trek. So overall, I'd say watch it. I don't know. I have no idea if the show does well or not. I know everybody's watching Picard, but I don't know if anyone's watching this. Jones, have you watched this at all?
I have not watched Discovery. When I finish Next Generation, I'll probably do Picard first, but since I have so much free time, I'm going to do Discovery. Like, I know they bring Pike back,
right?
And so I'm interested in that part, but it never looked super appealing.
I'm mostly interested in what you think during that 4-part story towards the end of the first season, because it really, they'd set up a status quo, and I really think they thought, oh, this is going to blow everybody's mind. And it kind of does. There's like 4 huge twists in it, but then after it's over, it's like, what do you do with this twist? And I will say this, the end of the first season is the dumbest ending to anything I've ever seen in my entire life.
Wow.
It's so incredibly fucking stupid. This is the only part of it I'll spoil, because, you're not missing anything by getting spoiled by this. essentially there's been a war with the Klingon Empire, and a Klingon who's kind of teamed up with the Discovery people ends it by essentially holding up an iPod at the Klingon council, not an iPod, an iPad, and saying, hey, if I'm not in charge, I'll use this iPad to blow you all up. And I just don't understand why Klingon just didn't take it out of her hand and break it. Like, it's just incredibly fucking stupid and lazy. So yeah. But beyond that, I'll still go better than Transformers. My next little bit is actually some content inspired by our departed friend Ian. Ian from the grave. R.I.P. Ian from the grave has been texting me about he signed up for Comixology Unlimited, which a lot of people want Comixology Unlimited to sort of be like Netflix for comics, and once you get into it, it's really not that. It's more like a Netflix if you went on it and they gave you the first season of The Office for free, and then you had to pay extra for every other season of The Office. So it's not. I don't think it's a great deal, but there is some, if you got like a month trial or something, there's some shit you could burn through. So it's just amazing what isn't on there, because when Ian said, hey, recommend me some good stuff, and I'd start, naming off stuff. Nope, that's not on there. Nope, that's not on there. But here's some things I did find if you were to ever do Comixology Unlimited during these troubled times. Starting off with some Warren Ellis stuff, since we just talked about him for an hour and a half. Again, his big hits aren't on here. Planetary's not on here. Authority's not on here. But Next Wave Agents of Hate is on here. It's a thing he did for Marvel, where he basically takes a bunch of B-list characters who think they're working on, for sort of a good guy espionage team, and find out that instead they're working for the bad guys, and then they go in. Warren Ellis also did a run on a James Bond comic. The first 10 issues, they're all also on Comixology Unlimited. Ian said he was trying to do Batman The Long Halloween, which is all on there, and he said he wasn't enjoying the art, but it is on there if you want to get familiar with the story. That's probably going to be the framework for the new Batman movie. But if you get into it and you're like him and you don't really like the art, they also have Batman Hush, which is exactly the same story, just with more contemporary art. Like I said, there's a lot of it's just teasers. You can go on there and you can read the new X-Men, E is for Extinction, and get started on the great Grant Morrison new X-Men run. But then that's it. You can't read any more of the rest of it. But one thing, if you really want to do a deep dive in on this, Hellboy, you can read every single bit of that shit you like.
Yeah, I recently did all of Hellboy on Comixology. Right,
so you've done Comixology, so you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can do the whole damn thing. So that's that I would recommend, if you get a trial or something, doing it just for that, because Hellboy's great.
You can sign up through Prime, I think, as well. So if you're
I've been rereading The Stand because of our current situation. And a lot of it feels a lot like right now. There's a space in the beginning where nobody takes it very seriously, and then it gets really fucking serious. One thing that it's very different than now, there's just a whole lot of masturbation. There's just I read this when I was like in the 7th grade the first time, and you would think I would be really interested in masturbation at that time, but I just don't remember there being this much jacking in it. But there's a lot of jacking in it, but it's a good book.
I imagine there's a lot of jacking going on in general across the world right now, so it's possible it's accurate.
I disagree with that, because the problem with the jacking right now is sure, lots of people have free time, but everybody's at home.
That's actually a good point.
There's no privacy. I think that's all I've got. Oh, yeah. Something else I'll recommend is being better than Transformers in these times. Baths. I've been taking baths instead of showers.
I like it.
Yeah. All right.
Sitting in dirty water. I do want to say one more thing about The Witcher. Lars Mikkelsen is in it, which, if you're not familiar, he has a famous brother named Mads, who is, a great actor we all know and love. But Lars played Grand Admiral Thrawn in Rebels, and he is a wizard in The Witcher. and he uses the exact same voice, and it brought me pure joy every single time he spoke.
Fantastic. Well, I watched a fair bit of shit before it even got real bad because I was on a plane and I watched plane movies, which started with Bumblebee, which I think is a perfect plane movie. It was fine. That's it.
I like it a lot. I would go way better.
I like Bumblebee a lot.
I think it's better than Transformers by the slightest of margins. It's just a worse version of the Iron Giant, but it's fine.
That's a fair critique.
Yeah, I watched that movie that Ian recommended the other week, which is 21 Bridges with fucking Black Panther.
Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah. Taylor Kitsch is really good at it, which is not a thing I get to say that often. But it's a weird thing because the first, 10 minutes of the movie are super dumb. But then the rest of the movie's like, it's not like good, but like it's entertaining. Like it's a cops and robbers. It's over like 8 hours. It's very tense. The action sequences are really well done, but it's also dumb. I don't know. It's a weird in-betweeny. It's a good plane movie though. I watched The Green Book, Best Picture winner of 2018, and it's exactly what you think it is. I'm gonna read directly from my Letterboxd account where I record which things I've been watching because I feel good about my review. This is immediately after I watched. Or pretty soon after I watched that Amos and Andrew movie that's about Nick Cage and Samuel L. Jackson, where an educated black intellectual is compared pretty equally to a white trash pedophile. So my review of Green Book is there's a much thinner line separating this movie from Amos and Andrew than most people would be willing to admit. Nothing original here. All parts of the production are very well executed. Perfectly inoffensive movie for your parents, but fuck me if it's the best movie of 2018.
Yeah.
And then I watched
Into the Transformers.
And then I watched Into the Spider-Verse and said, this is the best movie of 2018. Right. And I went back and rewatched Equilibrium, which if Regina still listens to this podcast, she'll be happy about because I vaguely remembered it, but I forgot what the plot was realistically. And it's still pretty fun. It's trench coat ninjas who hate feelings. And
it's like The Matrix and Fahrenheit 451 had a baby.
It is, yeah. It's all style. There's very little substance. Most of it doesn't make sense. But honestly, for how cheap so much of the movie looks, the action sequences are really good.
Yeah, I like that movie a whole lot.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's definitely better than Transformers. It's kind of a little like low budget gem with it's got Sean Bean, who, spoiler alert, dies.
I don't think it's a spoiler at this point.
I know. Christian Bale and Taye Diggs. I love Taye Diggs. I wish he was in more things, I think. I don't know. I just think he's handsome. I don't know if I think he's a good actor.
I mean, he's still in stuff. You just don't watch it.
That's true.
All those movies with black guys wearing nice shirts. He's in those movies.
He's in every single one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I don't know if this counts, but I just downloaded yesterday The Last of Us, which I haven't played, but I have time now to play like long story-oriented video games. And it's fucking great. I know that's not a surprise to anybody, but I'm having a really good time with it so far. And it's fun getting to hang out with Ashley Johnson again because Critical Role is off.
Yeah, it makes me so sad.
I know. It's literally like pretty much the only thing that keeps me alive week to week. But I think that's it.
That's all for our first quarantine episode, I would
Hooray.
say.
All right, next week, something else from quarantine. Whatever we're feeling. Maybe I don't really want to watch the lion thing, but maybe I'll watch it.
Well, we already covered that this week, so you really need to watch something else.
I think y'all should watch The Witcher.
Oh, fuck. I hated the first episode so much.
First episode is terrible. It is. You just got to keep going. And I'm not telling you it's going to get much better, but it gets more interesting.
Right. Oh, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, something will be coming next week, maybe. Or who knows? We'll see what happens. That's about as much of a commitment as I can make. But thanks to everybody for listening. Please really don't even worry about liking and subscribing. Be nice to your fellow man and do good things for other people and don't touch people. That's the nicest thing you can do is not touch or breathe on anyone or get near anyone else. And you can find us on realphonies@gmail.com. Or you can email us and tell us what you think about Castlevania. Please watch Castlevania. I want to talk to more people about Castlevania. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Real Phonies and on Instagram at Real_Phonies. Thanks to Zach Evans for art and Brian Velasquez for our theme. We'll see you guys later.
Later.